Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is an absolutely fantastic story that's come out, and yet another stupid carry on about these ferries that the SNB have tried to build, right? Now, before I start, a lot of people ask how they can support the channel. Well, you can become a member if you want, or subscribe free. But far easiest thing, if everybody done it, is just click the wee thumbs up every time you see a video. Does wonders for the reach. So this story, right, I was sent this in an email, I think it was yesterday, maybe like last night, from a guy that sends me a lot of stuff. And I realised that this morning, one of the Daily Mails ran with the story. So I was hoping to do a wee bit of digging about the story, but I don't need to. Someone else has done it for me, right? So the headline is, "So much for going green. Fuel for SNP's eco-ferries is to be transported 8,000 miles. Incredible journey from Qatar to Scotland for fuel-delayed ferries." The SNP's delayed ferries have been hit with a new farce as it emerged that their special green fuel must be imported 8,000 miles from Qatar, then driven thousands of miles more each year by road. The vessels were designed with dual fuel engines which can run on liquefied natural gas, LNG, designed to cut emissions, as well as conventional diesel. However, 8 years after work began on the ferries Glen Sannox and Glen Rosa, the Scottish Government says there's no clear date for when the LNG tanks, known as bunkering facility, will ever be built here. I take it that's where you put the stuff before you put it in the boat. The bunkering facility, I guess it is. I guess that's not some problem with how you store it on the boat. As a result, LNG must be imported in diesel-powered ships from Qatar to a terminal in England and then driven 450 miles to Scotland. It is feared that this will lead to emissions far in excess of savings generated by the supposedly environmentally friendly engines. The complex dual-fuel design has been cited as one of the main reasons behind the shambolic delivery of the vessels for the route from Ardrossan to Arran. They're good, aren't they? Meanwhile, ongoing maintenance problems at Ardrossan means that the ferries will likely operate initially from Troon, 15 miles south, again a port with no LNG facilities, meaning thousands of delivery road miles. Ferry company Calmac has also identified potential problems with the transfer of LNG from the tankers to the ship, fearing road delays could spark daily timetable chaos. Professor Keith Hartley, an economist at the University of York, who has provided evidence of national shipbuilding strategy to the UK Parliament's Scottish Affairs Committee, described the ferry delivery as a pantomime. He said, "This seems a further development in what is a complete fiasco. It calls into question the ship's green credentials, given the emissions associated with vast sea and road journeys of tankers which will carry the LNG." Scottish Tory Transport spokesperson Graham Simpson said, "LNG for these ferries will have to be shipped to the UK and then brought up by road. LNG also emits methane, which is a greenhouse gas. So none of this is environmentally friendly. Is that not the reason they stopped having cows in Holland? Because cow farts have got methane in them because of the damage it was doing to the ozone." Brilliant. Anyway, where are we? Building ferries which use LNG has been the cause of delays and increased costs. It is disgraceful that islanders are the ones suffering in all of this. Begun in 2016, Glen Sannox and Glen Rosa have yet to enter service 5 years after it was hoped they would be serving Arran. LNG for the ferries was most likely come from Qatar, although UK supplies are also sourced from the US, Peru and Angola. The only UK LNG terminal which can fill road tankers is in Isle of Grain in Kent, 450 miles from Troon. Outlining further concerns, Calmac's own notes on LNG state, truck-to-ship bunkering is not considered a sustainable solution which will meet the long-term demands of the new ships. The typical transfer rate from a road tanker to receiving vessel is too slow, typically between 2 and 2.5 hours, to decant 20 tonnes of liquid. If tankers are required to meet the vessel during timetabled port calls, there would be the risk of delay if problems were encountered during transit. Well, yeah, of course there would. If you've got nowhere to store it, you've got to take it straight out the road tanker and stick it in the boat. The ferries are already millions over budget, although both are now in the water, with Glenrossa being launched last month. Glen Sannox is expected to be in service by the end of July and Glenrossa in September next year. Wait a minute. Are they two of them next year? Because Glenross has already been launched and Glen Sannox is expected to be in service by the end of July and Glenrossa in September next year. Are they both 20 next year then? I don't know. The problems at Ardrossan have also sparked a row between port owners Peel and Calmac, which has accused Peel of failing to properly maintain the port, leading to Troon being used. However, a Peel spokesman said, "We have invested millions of pounds at Ardrossan in recent years, some as a consequence of damage by Calmac ferries. We've also invested a further £2 million in the upgrade project, and we are willing to spend even more if only the Scottish Government and Calmac would agree on specification and the business case." Transport Scotland said the planned upgrade of Ardrossan Harbour includes an LNG facility. So this is just bonkers. So we've got two problems here in this drive for green. I mean, three probably actually, because if this was sold as this dual fuel thing and it was going to be fantastic, right? So one, it would have cost more because you would obviously have, it would be more expensive to either have two engines, because I don't really know how it works, or if there's no two engines, you would need two places to store fuel, one for diesel, one for LNG. On the boat, you could possibly need two engines. I will look into that in the future. But regardless of how you work it, the boat costs more, right? That goes, just apply common sense and logic. That's problem one. Problem two is, although we've been building these things for whatever seems like an eternity, nobody has thought through the logistics on how to get this different type of fuel onto the boat. This is crazy. This boat was meant to have been in the water years ago, and we're still late, and we've still not figured out how to actually fuel the thing. And three, one line on that I wasn't aware of before, LNG actually produces methane, which we're told damages the ozone. What was the point in the first place? What was the actual point of this madness? So that we could launch, or sorry, not even launch the boat, so we could launch the project, with the happy clappers saying how green and beautiful we are. Was that what the whole point was? Because there is nothing since then that doesn't beg our belief. It costs more. It's going to be mental to actually, in the logistics, to get the stuff to the boat, and the stuff that you're using, and it comes to light that it produces methane. I mean, it is absolute bedlam, and all this carry on to decarbonise Scotland while China are pumping out more stuff than we could ever neutralise and building power stations almost on a daily basis. So what is the actual point of all this? It is just getting ridiculous. I mean, someday somebody's going to make a film about these boats, right? And nobody will believe them. Because since day one, it's just been one bit of nonsense after another, after another, after another. You would think Scotland, which is part of the UK, which is an island, would be able to build boats, particularly when we are in an area on that island that's got a fantastic history of building boats. So it seems that the SNP are not only rotten at sort of new stuff. This is one of the things that you go, right, Scotland, where in the UK will we build some boats, right? All right, we'll build them on the Clyde, right? Because the Clyde has got a fantastic history of building boats. And we can't even do this right. We cannot build two, medium-sized things. They're not, I mean, they're no cruise ships we're building here, you know? It's no complex Royal Navy boats with, you know, lots of fancy things on them. It's 2 ferries. And at every single turn, we've made a complete arse of it. It just, you know, if it wasn't so funny, it would make me sad. I'm probably both, actually. Because and nobody cares. They just keep going and keep going and keep going. And I just think, just stop. Stop the world, get them parked, smash them in 2 elections, bankrupt them, and, you know, put them at the side. Just make them either bankrupt or so insignificant they can't break anything, right? And I'm telling you, see if any party does a deal with them after the next election so that whatever party it is that's got the most seats needs them to become a coalition or get their first minister, don't ever look for another vote off me in your life, because these people are piss poor at being politicians and running a country. Just get some adults in the room that can just deal with stuff. And I couldn't care less the colour of the rosette, if it's Labour, Tory, Lib Dem, or a mix-up of both. I genuinely couldn't care. I'm past caring, because nothing is worse possible. It is impossible to be worse than what we've got just now with these people. They need discarded for the rest of history. And if we can get 5 years, actually part of me hopes that we get a hung parliament stroke coalition stroke deal with somebody next time, right, when we eventually get an election done in Scotland, because it'll give us a chance to just have, they will need to agree on stuff, and, you know, sometimes you win, sometimes you lose, but independence will not be on the table, and these idiots will not be at the table, right? And we can just go, let's look at how shite Scotland is. Let's get a whole list of how shite Scotland is, and put them in an order of what's the biggest bit of shite that's easiest to deal with in that order. You know, the easy quick hits down to the stuff that might take some real time and effort that have not got as big an impact. But the things that can impact everybody in Scotland and are easily fixed, put them at the top. The stuff will take a wee bit of time and maybe not get the same impact at the bottom. And just go and sort the shite out. 5 years, sort the country out. Honestly, these people are insane. How can you be building a ship, selling it as green when it isn't, having it delayed all this time, and you've still not got figured out how to get the fuel in the stuff, in the thing? It's just, honestly, these people drive me insane. If you like the video game, who would like this video? How mad it's getting. If you like the message of the video, that's probably the best way of putting it. Give us a thumbs up, subscribe if you've not already done so, please. And unless you are SNP or anybody who's had a negative input into this shambles, everybody else in the world, have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.